shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Hello, my darlings. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you're all doing wonderful today, this evening, and tonight. How is everyone? How are you? How you doing? Hope you're all holding up well in this exceedingly hot evening in certainly the south of England area. I don't know where else you might be. I don't know where in the world you are, but it's bloody hot over here. I currently have a fan lodged in between my ass cheeks just to keep the colon cleansed. So kids, what are we doing? What are we talking about? We are here to discuss things. We're here to talk with the leader of the British Lives Matter, who should be joining us in about 5 minutes at 9 o'clock. I'm just doing a little pre-monologue because I love my monologues. You know I love my monologues. Oh, okay. Hold on, Hasman. Okay, there you go. You're in. You're in. Take it easy, Hassan. Don't just strike people and silence them immediately if you don't like their opinion. Please take it easy with the powers. The powers of the mod are to be used sparingly. But there you go. Anyway, so what are we talking about? Simon, what's the fan called? Very good. That man's sharp. He's been eating his Weetabix this evening. Okay, guys and girls. Mostly, once Rikki gets here, Rikki Doolan, who is the leader of British Lives Matter, which was a gentleman actually I spotted at the first protest to save or to rescue Churchill's statue from being vandalized again. So the very first protest of this year that was held by, if you like, the sort of the veterans and people who generally didn't want the Churchill statue to be covered up in paint. They came out. Of course, by that point, Mr. Useless Sadiq can't do anything. Managed to finally order the police to actually put borders around certain statues and also the cenotaph, just to make sure that they're not being vandalized yet again. But by then, lots of people were out, and also Rikki was also out in Parliament Square, and he was dressed in a three-piece suit, just looking immaculate in a extreme heat, and I was amazed. Him and, by the way, two of his black friends. That's right, black friends. I said it. Rikki has black friends, so Laura Towler is probably flipping in her grave, and she's not even dead. So yeah, I'm sure Colette had a shiver running down his spine when he spotted Rikki with black people around him. God forbid, huh? To have black people around us. I'm sure they don't even touch Ralph. They don't physically touch him, because they might, some of his brownness might wear off on the purest of pure white ethno-nats. But anyway, as far as, I spotted Rikki, and I did interview him a little bit, very shortly, a very short interview, or just a brief interview. But later on, he went on, I guess, I don't know if he, Hearts of Oak. I mean, he did the Hearts of Oak event afterwards, at the second rally, which I couldn't go to. Unfortunately, I was away for that particular day. And then he went, and he's been going strength to strength. Various different live streams, Richard Inman's show, and Anne-Marie Waters, and various other things. And then recently, obviously, as we may or may not know, or you may or may not know, he had a debate with Laura Towler on his channel, which I think was exceedingly successful. But it all depends on where you're coming from. I guess I'm presuming the ethnats are all, with popping champagnes and party poppers declaring victory. But then it's funny how I listen to Muslim channels. I listen to some of the Dawa channels from Speaker's Corner, and every time they have a debate with a kafir, they, funnily enough, also declare victory. Every time. No, Aaron, though, there won't be a Q&A. This is just purely me and him talking, because unfortunately, Aaron, though, as much as I love you, my German nationalist, my German white supremacist, the trolls will be coming out the woodworks. I can't really be doing with like trying to filter through a million 14s and 37s and 69s and whatever the hell numbers you guys adopt these days. So I'm not gonna just try to pass through a million bollocks just to get to one decent question. So I'm just mostly gonna leave them. If Rikki wants to and we can run through it, we might answer some questions. I don't know, but I told Rikki, I said, if we don't want to answer questions from the panel, forget it, because there'll be trolls all over the shop. There'll be the so-called groypers. The groypers. Oh, Atheist Steve, big up Atheist Steve. So we got some heavy hitters in the room. We've got Hassan Yalmaz. We got Atheist Steve. Never Take the Knee. I know that name. I know that name frequently. I think in the comment sections, and a variety of other people. And there's some dude who put in 143769. Well done. Well done, Georgius Maximus. He's covered the 69. I can tell you, if you put in a 69, you will have a bit of my affection, and my heart will go out to you, because we're a kindred spirit. Big up, Steve. If you put in a 69, we've bonded. But other than that, we're not spooning tonight, kids. We're just having a chat. We're just having a chat. I just Rikki. I was actually away. I wasn't even supposed to be back tonight. I was supposed to come back tomorrow night. I just we had a couple of tweets back and forth, and Rikki said that he will do it. He'll be able to do it for 9 o'clock. So I drove early and came back and got this thing set up, because I thought, he's a busy man. You can't miss an opportunity like this. You have to take advantage when you can. But I was camping, and if you can see by my complexion, I look probably like as gammon as they come. I'm a lobster at this point, totally red in the face, completely messed up. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe me and Rikki have got the wrong thing. Hold on. Oh my god, I think I gave Rikki the wrong. Hold on. Hold on. Is it the same one? I don't think it's the same one. No, it should be the same one. I'm pretty sure. No, it looks good. The StreamYard link looks solid. So Rikki should be okay. Should be okay getting in. So we'll see what happens when Mr. Doolan arrives, and we'll have a little chit chat. See what happens. But for now, it's just us, kiddies. And tonight's beverage, as we all know, this is a drinking game, kids. And tonight's beverage is unfortunately Pepsi Max. No alcohol. I can't do alcohol. I've been drinking 2 days of cider at a campsite with probably some kind of woodland creature in my orifice, because there was so many bugs. It's unbelievable the number of flies and just generally creepy crawlies that are just they're just living with you in a farm. I mean, I like to go out on farms and stuff, but usually I like it with room service. Okay, I think we're ready there. Let's without further ado introduce Mr. Rikki Doolan. Hello, Mr. Rikki Doolan, sir. Hold on one second, let me switch over so that people can see you, and hopefully they can see me. Can you hear me, sir? Hello. Are we having a boomer moment? Hello, Mr. Doolan. Can you hear me? Hello, Rikki.
Hello.
I can hear you.
I can hear you now.
You can hear me. Awesome. How are you, Mr. Doolan?
Very good. How are you?
Looking very smart as always. You're always impeccably dressed.
Thank you. Trying,
Yes, you're already a consummate politician. So I hope you can see me now, kind of. This is, unfortunately, because I can't do my green screen with the StreamYard at the same time, so I have to kind of do this sort of version of it where I'm
okay.
On the live stream. Everybody can see both of us, but on
your. Are we live now?
Oh yeah, we've been live for like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm late. Apologies.
Yeah, I started with a little intro. I played some music. It's a thing anyway. Okay. I do, so it's all good. So how are you, sir? How is things? How are you dealing with this heat in that suit? That's what I want to know.
Very good. It's a small sacrifice to be looking dapper,
Yeah, yes. I couldn't do it. This t-shirt's killing me right now. This t-shirt. Oh, by the way, this t-shirt for everyone in the chat. This is my merch. Yes, go to the Spreadshirt store. let's chill while we can. Yeah, that's my own design. Well, it's sort of my design, but anyway. But yeah, no, I mean this t-shirt is already just soaked through because it's so hot. I've got like 2 fans running underneath this desk right now. It's insane. And the funny thing is, I was on a farm, literally this morning. I came down after I had my little tweet with you, and you said you were gonna, you were okay. You had time to come on show. I was like, okay, I am driving tonight. I packed up a whole bunch of tent gear and a whole bunch of camping gear, and came down back to London, just to make sure that because I know you're busy, and it's hard to get a hold of you. So what have you been doing with these?
It's a pleasure to be on here.
Sorry, is there a bit of a delay? Can you hear me okay? Okay, there's a bit of a delay, guys. Let me... Are you okay, Rikki? You're breaking up a little bit. I think we're losing you. Okay, it's coming back.
Okay.
Are you okay? Can I... I think I can... Let me just see if it's your end or my end.
I'm good.
You can hear me okay? Yep. Okay, there is a bit of a...
Yeah, perfect.
I hope to goodness it's not me. I mean, I seem to be okay on the stream. Okay, let's see if this thing clears itself out. Let me just bear with me. Let me just see if I can drop you out and drop you back in. See if it helps the connection. Okay, we're back. Can you hear me okay, Rikki? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Oh, man. Hey, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. We're having technical difficulties. I don't know if Rikki can hear me. Rikki, can you hear me, sir? Is it me or is it this connection? Okay, he can hear me.
I can, definitely.
Okay. It's very choppy right now. I don't understand why it's so choppy. There is, I mean, I'm not running anything else apart from this, and my system seems to be connected fine. All the things are looking green. It's just your video is... Try turning off the video and having a chat without the video. Let's see if it speeds up without the video. Maybe it's the video that's dragging.
Okay, how's that?
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Any better?
Yeah. You sound clear as
Yeah,
a
I can
bell.
hear you.
You can hear me. I can hear you. It sounds very good. I think your internet connection is struggling with the video at the moment. It might be
Really?
running. Yeah, it's running a little bit sluggish, because if you turn the cam back on, see if things slow down again.
Okay, let's try that.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a still image. You're not even moving. Okay, you're moving now. It's struggling. It's definitely struggling. I mean, it's however you're comfortable.
Okay.
As long as you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay, then in that case, let's just keep going until the whole thing bursts into a pile of flames and then says we can't do it anymore. The computer just combusts. Okay, so Mr. Doolan, tell the audience that doesn't know anything about you, or those people out there who might not have come across your British Lives Matter movement, what is all about. What is British Lives Matter, and who is Rikki?
Yeah, so British Lives Matter is a movement that was I created around 6 to 7 weeks ago, after the period of when statues were getting pulled down, and we went to London to protect the Churchill statue. And that day I just thought, look, something needs to happen here, and I didn't know what. But I went home and we started British Lives Matter. And the reason why we did it is because I was seeing a lot of division in the country. With the division that was being caused by the Black Lives Matter movement, the division that was being caused by the Marxist fueled movements, the kind of far left movements, and the division that we are seeing in terms of categorization, in terms of everything being in subgroups, everything being in communities and all of that stuff. And I just thought, look, we need something that is a uniting force. So I created British Lives Matter to be a uniting force for the people of Britain, something that can stand to heal the divide, something that vehicle for the and the concerns of the British people, something that can stand for the culture and for the thread and fabric of Britain, and we can stand together and be proud of the flag and be proud of the nation. And that's why British Lives Matter started. It started on a Friday night, and on the Saturday daytime, our hashtag British Lives Matter was trending on Twitter, number one in the UK on the Saturday with 24,000 tweets using the hashtag. And then in our first month, we got 4.3 million Twitter impressions, and it's been going well. We've got we've got quite a lot of support, and things are moving in the right direction. So that's British Lives Matter. My name's Rikki Doolan, originally from Middlesbrough, and got interested in politics when the whole Brexit thing was happening. And Brexit, the Brexit decision was actually on my birthday, 23rd of June. And I got interested in politics after that.
Yeah.
Before then, I was never really, and just from I'm a working class lad from a working class background, but I've been a few places since growing up in Middlesbrough, and have travelled around and done a few things. And now I find myself here involved in politics, and it's important to me because this country is important to me. The people of this country is important to me, and the future of this country is at the utmost importance to me, because I want to leave something that is a brilliant place to prosper and live and move forward for my children and for your children and for all British people's children,
Sure. I mean, it seems with the kind of instant sort of reaction you got from British Lives Matter, the Twitter handle and the Twitter hashtag, there is definitely a thirst for the people of this country to regain a sense of Britishness and a sense of like this, because I think there's been so much Marxist sort of push or towards Marxism or towards some form of pseudo-Marxism or cultural Marxism, that the people of this country are thirsty for a real British sense of identity. I think they're trying to, hold on to their British identity and and all the history and everything that Britain has, and it almost seems like the people, the powers that be, are trying to pry that away from them. This was, I think, exemplified in the Churchill statue, vandalization with the cenotaph. They almost feel as if there is a group out there, or there's a consented effort out there to try to sort of de-British or take away the Britishness of Britain, and make us into some sort of generic thing that is no longer Britain, and it's just this black. I think that's what I get the impression. They want to make this like a blank slate where they can then superimpose their Marxist or their ideology on top of. So they first have to strip away whatever identity you already have, so that when they bring in their identity, you can absorb it. Otherwise, people will resist. And then I think this is what's happening, is that the British people, the people who care about this country. Now, I know you and I both have the same definition of what British is, because I know other people don't. People out there think that being British only means being English, Welsh, Scottish, and Irish. That is no longer, as far as I'm concerned, that is no longer just what encompasses British. British is an umbrella term for those who live in the British Isles, who live in the United Kingdom, who value British values, British way of life, and British ideas. It's not limited to where your ancestry necessarily came from. It's to me now, I think Britain, the word British has transformed or has migrated to or moved towards what an American is, what a Canadian is, what an Australian is. These are not attached to skin color. Anyone can be an American, anyone can be a Canadian, anyone can be an Australian. It's an umbrella term, but as long as you embody the values of that nation, and I don't want to get too far away, but there are people who said things like, if being British it doesn't mean being white, then it has no meaning. It absolutely has meaning. It's like saying to an American, because if anyone can become an American, then suddenly the word American doesn't have any meaning, doesn't have any identity. You go tell an American that they're the same as a Canadian, they'll punch you in the face. They have an identity. There's Chinese Americans, there's Japanese Americans, there's African Americans and Italian Americans and Swedish and German Americans, and they all know exactly who they are, exactly what their national identity is, and they are not Canadians and they are not Australians. They're Americans, and they are absolutely proud of being American, whether they're Japanese or Chinese or African. So I think this is where these other sort of people who want to insist on redefining the term British are missing, is that British is an umbrella term which actually encompasses already 3 different ethnicities. You go tell a Scotsman that he's English, he will beat the living crap out of you to try to convince a Scottish man that he's English. A Scottishman knows he's not English, and then vice versa. An Englishman knows he's not Scottish, but they all know that they're British. They're all encompassing under that umbrella. So for me, that's the main thing, that there is a misunderstanding of the term British at the moment. Some people want to eradicate it completely, and others want to reinterpret it to mean only a specific number of ethnic groups. And I think you and I are in the middle of this, where we want to keep what it means right now, and we want to encourage people to value and to appreciate being British, uniquely British. We're not American. I may be Iranian British, but I am not an American British. I am very different from an American Iranian. Sorry. So we appreciate these nuances. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't. A lot of people deal in the black and white, and I don't think they appreciate the nuance of, you can be an African British and you can still have a Nigerian heritage but be distinctly British. You will not be mistaken as a Nigerian Canadian. There is a difference in that. But this is what I mean. I think people are misinterpreting this term British, and a lot of people are using it in their own way. So they set up the rules of, this is what I mean when I mean British, and then they deny your understanding of what is British. They will only accept their version of British. And no matter what you say, they're like, no, it doesn't mean what you say. It means what I mean it to be. Well, if words are just whatever we want them to be, then hell, I can make anything up in that case. We'll just make words up as we go along. But I want you to tell me the kind of efforts, the kind of programs, the kind of future events that you guys are setting up for your for Britain Lives Matters. What sort of things are you guys got in the pipeline?
Yeah, so the main vision really and goal for what we want to do as British Lives Matter is change hearts and minds, and change hearts and minds to be open to the truth, to be open to inclusive patriotism. So we plan to move around the country when the events are allowed again to operate without restrictions. We plan to hold events up and down the country, and as many cities and towns as we can, and get across to Northern Ireland, work our way down Scotland, England, Wales, as many places as we can get to, and just gather the people together. And like I said, change hearts and minds, and it's very important what you were saying. And I think there has to be a real distinction between ethnicity and nationality. And nationality is what we are promoting. And like you put that it's almost an umbrella term, and it's something that the Americans do very well, and it's something that we must do here in Britain as well. Because, like you said, two extremes at the minute. There's an extreme that wants to destroy what Britishness is, that even promotes it and presents it as a racist entity, and for the Union Jack to be a racist symbol. I think we saw in the past 5-10 years, we've saw incidents of people being told to remove Union Jack flags from flying in their gardens or their workplaces simply because there were people that offended. I mean, that was something that really inspired me back then to just kind of get into a pro-British type of movement or stance, where we can never allow our culture and our identity to be eradicated. It just cannot be done. But then the other extreme, which is especially we've witnessed in the last 7 days, since the British Lives Matter debate, which is that only ethnically British people can be patriotic. They call it fake patriotism and real patriotism. Well, I'll tell you what, the ethno-nat terminology of fake patriotism or identity as fake patriotism is an absolute load of rubbish. In fact, I'd call it an absolute load of tosh, right? Because if you're talking about ethnically British people, and then you go into the DNA test, you'll find that there's something like 17% Swedish, there's
yes.
10% German, or whatever it is. So what legitimizes somebody, a mixed DNA, that he's got Swedish in it, that's got German in it, that has French in it, that has Spanish in it, to somebody that has immigrated here as third generation immigrant, that has African in it, Zambian, whatever it is, Iranian. Why do people who have got European DNA feel like they are more entitled to be British than somebody that's immigrated from somewhere else? And I also made the argument that my grandparents came to England from Republic of Ireland, right? They moved here to work in the early 1900s in the Northeast to work in the mines. Now, does that mean I'm Irish? That I'm not British? It's just, it's a ludicrous concept. I mean, they want to stand on ethnicity, but there's so many different ethnicities in this country now. If they really want to stand on ethnicity, then the far right, these people, then it's going to be a problem forever. That means that the country will always be divided. That means the country will never be able to stand together and stand under the Union Jack and say that we are proudly British and we proudly stand for this country and we want to protect the heritage and culture. You look at the attack that's taking place on the heritage and culture now, a lot of it is to do with these far right people. A lot of it is to do with these narrow-minded, narrow-visioned people that say that the Union Jack can only be for white British people. Why do you think that the majority of the mainstream media, the majority of the nation, the majority of people that come from different ethnic backgrounds, why do they feel so threatened by the Union flag? It's simply because of these exact people that are doing a disservice to this country, a disservice to the flag, a disservice to British culture by saying that white British is the only way that you can be patriotic. It's a disgrace. And we're here to change that discourse. We're here to change that conversation, and we're here to show that Britain is a nation that is made up of multiple ethnicities in 2020, and we have to forge a united future moving forward, and that's why we're here.
Absolutely. This is the I think the battlefield is in the middle right now, because we have two extremes. They both want to pull at either end. One wants to erase everything that is British. The other one wants to limit it to only a certain group of people, not actually even taking into account the actual history of Britain, who has had Sikhs and Indians and Africans fighting in its wars and in its in armies, serving. I mean, I made a video regarding this, and I said, why don't some of these ethnos sit down with a Nepalese Gurkha soldier who serves the crown proudly and look him in the eye and say, you're not British, you're not part of us, even though his generations they've served in the British Army, in the Gurkha forces, which are some of the most fierce fighting forces in the world, or a Sikh fighting soldier, and ask him that he's no longer British because he's got the different wrong color, even though his family have died for this country, they bled for this country. But that doesn't count. No, because your skin isn't slightly the lily white that they want it to be, or the particular amount of melanin that you have in your skin is not quite the right kind. This is what I mean. I mean, this is the thing about, like, someone.
Well, look, Banksy.
Yeah, go on.
These people are on the wrong side of history. That's what they need to realize. And the majority of them are keyboard warriors, are armchair politicians, and they're on the wrong side of history. That's what they need to realize, because the future of this nation is a united future. It's standing side by side, no matter the skin color. I mean, Martin Luther King put it in the best way. He finished the whole argument on race.
Yeah.
The fact that we are arguing on race in 2020 shows that there are still some real dark forces pushing forward to try and divide this country, because Martin Luther King finished the argument. He said that we don't judge on the color of the skin, but we judge on content of character. And that's just it. The race argument is finished on that statement. But a lot of people since the date last week have been thrown a lot of tags around on me, even as far as calling me a globalist, right? Which is absolutely crazy. Because for one, I stand strongly that illegal immigration needs to stop, and I stand strongly that a points-based immigration system needs to be implemented in this country. And my view on immigration is that it should be very difficult to get into Britain. In fact, it should be one of the most difficult countries to get in the whole world. Why? Because we are one of the most valuable countries in the whole world. We have one of the best societies in the whole world, the best democracies. Therefore, it should be difficult to get into this country. If you have a brilliant university, such as Oxford, Cambridge, or Yale in the USA, it's very difficult to get into them universities. Why? Because they're so good. Now, this country is really brilliant. It is so good. It should be difficult to get into this country. So to call me a globalist is just a phenomenal misrepresentation. Well,
actually, on that note, since you brought up the globalist thing and people accusing you of all sorts of things, I just want to ask you this, so we put this accusation to bed. Are you a Mossad agent that is currently on the payroll of Israel? Because it appears that by the comments, that's what you are.
Yeah. And for all of those people out there who believe that I'm receiving shekels directly from Israel, international bank transfer, it's just simply not true.
Okay, there you go. We got it. Because up until since your debate last week, it's been non-stop barrages of I've seen like just constant. Oh, he's working for the Mossad. He's the Israeli shekel hunter. This that. So there was so much. These are in all honesty, actually, if you actually think about it, if you actually look at it, these are open, blatant anti-Semitic comments. There's no two ways about it. These are just broad-faced anti-Semitic, comments that they're making, because it displays how much they hate the people of Israel and Jews. But they were because they were kind of bouncing them off you, so they were kind of shooting at you, but really they're aiming at the Jews, because every put down was towards the Jewish people. To the thing is, the weird thing is, me as a Middle Easterner, I thought we had the monopoly on anti-Semitism, and I really thought the Middle East was where anti-Semitism was at its vicious. I only just in the recent years realized how strong anti-Semitism in Britain still exists. I thought English people were over that stuff. But it's amazing. It's amazing because Iran, I come from a country who literally holds a Holocaust denial conference. So you can't get more anti-Semitic than Iran. I thought we were top number one on that score, but no, there are plenty of anti-Semites in Britain that are like English anti-Semites, not like some Pakistani guy who hates Israel because of some connection to Palestine. Broad-faced Jew haters, and I'm amazed. Look, I'm not saying that Israel is without sin. I'm not saying Israel is like a paradise that has no, that has done nothing wrong. I have many criticisms for the state of Israel and its treatments of Palestinians and all that stuff, but I don't blame Jewish people for this. Israel is a country. It's a state. It's a sovereign nation. You can criticize a state, but I don't walk around looking at Jews going, look at that shifty hook-nosed Jew. He's probably hiding some sort of Mossad money in his basement. These guys are like paranoid about Jews. They're not just like criticizing Israel on a legitimate level. They think that the Jews run everything. And anyone who stands up to them, anyone who stands up to the ethno-nationalists is a Jewish paid shill. He's a controlled opposition. There's the new word, controlled opposition. They send, the Jews send out people who pretend to be patriotic, and then and so they can manipulate the ethno-nationalists, because of course the ethno-nationalists consider themselves as the only patriots in the country. There is no other patriots apart from them. No one else can love this country but those guys. Which I don't know, man. These guys are they're driving me mad. But let's discuss a little bit about your the other side of the coin, the conversation you're going to have this Thursday with the flip side to the ethno-nationalists. So you went from one extreme to the other. You went for the one polar opposite to the other. So what's going to happen on Thursday?
Well, before I mention that, what just to comment on what you just there, Banksy, is that what's happening and what we're finding. I'm also a little bit tragic and unfortunate when it comes to this country. Is you're seeing the anti-Semitism, but you're seeing it on the far left and on the far right. They're actually sharing very similar ideals, especially when it comes to anti-Semitism. So you're seeing it on the far left and you're seeing it on the far right. And this is, we've obviously seen it in the Labour Party for a number of years. And we saw it emerge spectacularly with Wiley just last week. And then, after our debate last Thursday, again, you start to see it. It was in the rhetoric that was being used. And it's been in the aftermath ever since last Thursday. So
Yeah.
it's a really sad state of affairs that it still exists. And after all these years, and after all the persecution that the Jewish people have suffered right throughout history, that it's still going on, and it's going on in a country like Great Britain, that has always had a very strong relationship with Israel, that has always looked to protect the Jewish people, whether it be World War II, whether it be the Crusades. We have a long and rich history with that relationship and that almost protection type of outlook when it comes to the Jewish people. So for people in this country to be festering hate for Jewish people and anti-Semitism, it's really wrong, and it has to stop. It needs to be stamped out, and it needs to be called out for what it is. And if last week's debate did anything, I'm very glad that it shone a light on the racism and anti-Semitism that's on the far right, and it was able to separate a group like ours, British Lives Matter, from that type of ideology, But you asked the question of what happened in this Thursday, and we're doing our second
Rikki,
British Lives Matter live debate.
Sorry.
And
just bear with me. Could you do me a favor? Could you turn off your cam for a second or two so your connection, because you're breaking up really badly now. I want this message to come out nice and clear. Okay. Okay, go for it. This should clear it up, because the bandwidth should be a bit better.
All right, no problem. So this Thursday we're following on from last Thursday's debate. We've got the British Lives Matter live debate. The second part, the second edition, and this time we've got on Black Lives Matter Oxford, or she calls herself. I've seen her call herself the Oxford Black Panther, which is Sasha Johnson. So I'll be debating Sasha Johnson this Thursday 9 p.m. on the BRLM YouTube channel and Periscope. So it's going to be another great debate, and I do think last Thursday was great in a number of different ways, and this Thursday is going to be just as great, if not better, because Sasha Johnson is coming from the opposite end of the spectrum. In terms of the Black Power and the core Black Lives Matter activists, wears the beret and stuff like that. And we all saw her on the video that when with Tommy Robinson, when she was getting pretty irate with the discussion, and we've seen a few videos of her in match clashing with the police and things like that. So I'm really happy that she's agreed to do it. And I respect that a lot. I also respect Laura Towler a lot for coming and debating last Thursday. And a lot of people get it wrong. They think there's somehow big hatred between myself and Laura Towler or whoever's coming to debate, and it's simply not true. I respect people for standing for what they believe and willing to debate them ideas, on a public platform, and I respect that a lot. And I've not been out there talking about Laura since then, and it's not something that it has got a lot of benefit in doing. But this Thursday, Sasha Johnson, really looking forward to it. Like I said, whilst I don't respect a lot of her ideology, and that's what we're going to debate, I do respect her as a person and as somebody that's agreed to do the debate.
That's wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, you can turn the cam on now if you like, because I just wanted that message to come out as clear as possible, because I think the camera, the bandwidth was being sucked up by the camera and it was affecting your voice. But I just want everyone to know, 9 o'clock Thursday, be there, or be Black Lives Matter. But just definitely be there. If you want to get into the Laura Towler conversation a little bit, I just wanted your thoughts after the event, since you kind of mentioned now that you don't harbor any sort of ill will, which is sensible. I mean, we're not here to hate on anyone. This is the problem with the lot, the extremes on the internet these days. Is like, I have to hate you to debate you, or I have to love you to debate you, or some sort of, it has to always be like, I have to, these extreme emotions. I either have to hate you, or I have to love you, or people are not living, most people don't live their lives at these extreme ends of their emotions. They're not constantly walking around hating or loving people.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're kind of in the middle. They're sort of like, it's all right. So, like, why is it that this you feel you got such a visceral reaction after your debate with Laura Towler? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, there's something that I always say, which is the truth about myself. It's the truth about British Lives Matter, and that is, we're not far left, we're not far right. We are just common sense, right? And common sense is something that is under attack from far left and far right. Common sense is something that is being removed bit by bit, and those on the far right, or those that are sitting behind their keyboard aggressively assaulting people with their words, they will tell you that they're for common sense, but they're not, because it's common sense not to do things like that. It's common sense not to treat people like that. It's not something that personally I care about in terms of stuff that's aimed towards me. It's not something I really take too much notice of. In fact, me and my wife, we read through them ourselves, and we laugh at these things, So the reason why I think they do it is because people on the internet feel some type of sense of entitlement, like they have they have a right to go and give people abuse, or use violent language, or call people names, or whatever it is that they might say, because they're sat behind their keyboard. If it was in person, they would be much different. Yes. People are different. Yes. And I'm a big believer in people. I'm a big believer in humanity, and I'm a big believer in respecting each other as human beings. And definitely all lives matter. I started British Lives Matter to focus on Britain, to focus on healing the divide. But the reality is that all lives around the world matter. Every human life matters, no matter what mistakes somebody's made, no matter what wrongs people have done, no matter what somebody's history is. So when torrents of abuse arrive, it's not something that I take to heart, and I never will take it to heart, because that's the nature of the modern day.
Yeah. It seems that these days, again, there is this two-tier kind of level of conversation. There are those who sit in their keyboards and their live streams or whatever, and they start typing away and yapping away, and it's so much in their safe and comfort of their house. And then there are those people like yourself who actually go out into the street, into the real world, and stand on a stage and actually make their voices heard. And this is what I found is, like, I mean, again, I don't harbor any ill will towards Laura or any of the people that are members of PA, but you stand in Parliament Square and speak your mind and tell the world what you think. They go out into the hills of Yorkshire, out in the middle of nowhere, and then hold up a sign saying "White Lives Matter." Like, dude, who are you? Who do you think you're impacting on the hills of Yorkshire? Are you trying to convert sheeps here? Are there some cows and mountain goats that are interested in White Lives Matter? They don't have the courage of their conviction. To me, that shows the courage of their conviction, that they literally will not even bring themselves to stand in a Yorkshire town centre and hold up a sign saying White Lives Matter. What kind of courage are you showing? What kind of courage are you really displaying when you are not, you have to walk out into the hills of the ass end of nowhere in Yorkshire in order to present some sign that you clearly know that the British public are not behind? Even the people holding the signs didn't want to be in those pictures. They were covering their faces. Even if the people that are holding your sign are not willing to show up, willing to, man up for their cause, where is your cause really going? What's it going to do? Where is it? How many decades is Laura Towler and Mark Collette going to stand on hills holding up White Lives Matter before they can, struttle down to the actual town center, to the actual streets where the people are? This is to me, this is what I mean. These guys, they can run their mouths all day long on the internet, but when it really comes down to actually showing up on the street, they're nowhere to be seen. They're not there because nobody cares if you're running your mouth on the internet. Nobody cares. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's really become the norm, for that type of. I don't know if it's called dialogue or discourse or whatever it is, but of the commenting culture to be going on like that. So it's never something that should be taken too much to heart, and it never really accurately represents what's going on with the public. It's something that can be abused. It's something that can be manipulated, and it is in many ways. But like I said, I respect Laura a lot for coming and doing the debate. She didn't have to do that, and as their group, they didn't have to do that either. But they did it, and she will always have my respect for that. Even though I don't agree with their ideology at all. In fact, it's conflicting with the ideology that we are presenting with the British Lives Matter. But you have to respect the fact that they came to join in the debate. But I'm looking forward to this Thursday and with Sasha Johnson. And I'm looking for, going to give her the opportunity to let us know what her movement's all about. What she called for a black militia. So want to hear what she wants, what her goals are with the black militia, what she thinks the black militia will achieve, and we'll bat the ideas around. And there's one thing that is for sure, and that is that white lives do matter and black lives do matter. In fact, all lives matter, no matter the color of the skin, no matter the background, no matter the religion. And that's something that needs to be shouted from the rooftops. And I will certainly do that as much as I can. And British Lives Matter, we will constantly present that reality. And it is a reality. It's not an ideology. It's not a political strategy. It's a fact. Facts don't have feelings. All lives do matter. It's simple as that.
Of course. I mean, I think the problem is that everybody, especially this current state of affairs, is because it's such a polarized world. People are like, well, I can't worry about that one. I have to worry about my own. I have to circle the wagons and look out for my own guys. And the white people are doing it, and the black people are doing it. And I'll be honest, like you said earlier on, with someone like Martin Luther King Jr., he's spinning in his grave right now, looking at the world that he thought that he encouraged to create, a world in which his children will grow up in a world in which they're not judged by the color of their skin and are judged by the content of their character. And the irony is that the very thing he said is being ignored, and people are just judging by the color of people's skins. They are literally in America now. I heard there are states that want to overturn laws that gave equality to both both blacks and whites, as in it made them even in employment laws and things like that, because you couldn't discriminate. Now black people, this is the craziness. Black people are saying, no, we want you to overrule those laws, and we want you to give preferential treatment to black people.
Yeah, it's really crazy, you know, and something that we want to achieve with British Lives Matter is that we're not talking about black people and white people, we're talking about British people.
Exactly.
That's what we want to achieve, and it's very achievable. And there's many people out there that are tired of the division, that are tired of the fighting, and you know, a lot of it boils down to cultural Marxism, and people are just tired of it. And people are ready to stand together, and people have got that opportunity with British Lives Matter, and we're definitely pushing that agenda, that people identify themselves and recognize themselves as British people before any skin color, before any type of background or ethnicity. And that is the future we need.
I mean, this is, I think, why you had such a rapid uptake and such a rapid attraction to your cause and to your Twitter. And, you know, sorry?
And such a rapid opposition as well.
Well, yeah, of course, the opposition would come thick and fast, because the thing is, you see, what you realize is those people from the ethnic, those who want to divide, those who want to have their ethno-nats, the white supremacists, whatever you want to call them, and the cultural Marxist black supremacists, they all want your audience. They want those guys from the whichever perspective side it is to come to their side. And if you give them an alternative option, if you give them an option in the middle, people tend to go for the middle, and they're going to hate you for that, because you're taking away potential recruits for them. This is why these ethno-nats are desperately killing themselves to try to debate For Britain members, because they want to try to poach For Britain memberships. They want to poach the people that are following For Britain, following Anne-Marie Waters, and they think that by having one of their Laura Towler or Colette or whoever debate For Britain, that it will be such a devastating, crushing blow, elbow from the top rope kind of defeat, that all the For Britain members will just rush to a patriotic alternative, for example. What they don't realize is, number one, someone like Anne-Marie Waters, this is the problem with the ethno-nationalists. You're not owed a debate. You should, yes, it's in a public forum or in a fair sort of minded society. Yes, you should be able to request for a debate, and if someone wants to give you a debate, fair enough. But you're not owed it. This isn't something you're owed. You're going to send the bailiffs to collect. Nobody owes anyone a debate. So if Anne-Marie Waters doesn't want to debate you, she doesn't owe you anything. She doesn't have to give you a debate, but you can go around and scream it's unfair, or she can, she'll be crushed, but she doesn't actually have to debate you, because some people want to distance themselves. And Anne-Marie Waters, just like yourself, made a video and absolutely, with no uncertain terms, distanced herself from the ethno-nationalists. She made it brutally obvious that she has nothing to do with these guys, nothing to do with their cause and their ideology, and she will, For Britain will never be anything like an ethno-nationalist group like Patriotic Alternative. So when she did that, these guys lost their collective shit. They were losing their mind that Anne-Marie Waters came out like that. And also, I don't know if you follow a YouTube channel called The Britisher. He made a very good video against the ethno-nationalists as well, and and sort of scathing kind of cut down of their policies and their worldview. So they went after him as well. They went after him. In fact, at some point they started pointing out he's not really British. He's putting on a fake British accent. It's like suddenly, if you go against these people, you're a Mossad, apparently according to them, you're a Mossad agent. Anne-Marie Waters is Irish, so she's not British anyway. And this Britisher guy, he's probably Indian. As far and it's like they pull things out of the air.
The fight's in the wrong place. The fight is in the wrong place. The fight should not be with skin color. It should not be with race. It should not be with ethnicity. The fight should be against this ever-rising Marxism that's taking place in this country,
Yes.
against this drive for political and economical revolution, this drive towards socialism, drive towards communism. That's the
Yes.
fight, you know? And people are focused on the wrong thing. People are focused on something that cannot be changed. There is no way that this country is ever removing 11 million people that have not got white British heritage or whatever it is. And that should not be the fight. That should not be the focus. The focus should be on promoting, on saving British heritage and culture and uniting the nation and fighting against this upsurge in a really damaging ideology,
Yes.
such as Marxism, such as socialism, you know, communism. That's the real fight, and that's where people are missing it. And we should be really looking, instead of attacking the mass ethnically non-white British people, we should be looking at, you know, working harder at assimilation, you know, working harder at people that have immigrated to this country, of grasping the culture, the language, and, you know, getting people assimilated into this country that are here.
Yeah, I have to say, when it comes to developing a sense of patriotism and a sense of belonging, the Americans, I gotta give it to. I used to think the whole America, you know, America, we're number one, we're great. I used to think that was all bravado, and it was just so just cringy stuff back when I was younger. But I began to, sort of develop an appreciation for a country that likes itself, a country that is proud of itself, and a government that absolutely promotes, and a culture that absolutely promotes. It's a good thing to be, in their case, American, and it is an absolutely good thing to be a British person. It is a wonderful country. This, there's a chap called Lawrence Fox, I think it was. He said it on Question Time. He said this country is a wonderful country. It's one of the least racist country in the world. It is one of the most welcoming country in the world. I can promise you. When I was in Iran, I was a child. I was very small when I came to Britain, but I remember we had servants, we had maids and cooks and cleaners and stuff. And most of them were from Afghanistan, because Afghanistan was ravaged by the Russian war. And most of the refugees came from Afghanistan to Iran. And people treated Afghanis horrifically, terrible. When I remember those, I have vague memories, but when I remember, I realize people treat people really badly. Right now in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in actually Libya, there are people from Cameroon, from the Congo, from the Ivory Coast, from Nigeria, who go to those countries to work as supposedly maids and cooks and babysitters, and they are treated like slaves. They have nails put into their arms and legs. They're kept in closets. This is how other human beings treat other human beings around the world. And these people, like Black Lives Matter, have the goal to scorn Britain. Britain is a heaven compared to some of the places in the world. Places where Africans treat other Africans. Libya is selling other Africans. You can buy Africans in Libya right now. There are slave markets. That's what Africans are doing to each other. And these guys are talking about Britain being the most racist place, or America being such a horrible place. And yet, by the way, none of these people are buying any tickets anytime soon to go and live in the Congo or Nigeria, because they know where they're at. They know which side their bread is buttered. This is one of the best places and at the best possible time in history you could be to live in the West. If you can live in the Western civilization, Western Europe, North America, these are some of the best places and the best time in history to live in. You have the most amount of healthcare facilities, just amenities. Your child is much more likely to grow up and become a functioning adult in these countries than any other country in the world. Most other countries, your child mostly dies at infancy or as a toddler from some kind of godforsaken disease or some war-torn place that you're living in. Shamima Bingham, everybody's complaining about Shamima Bingham. Shamima Bingham knows how amazing Britain is now, because she lost 4 children She lost 4 children in Syria. That's what happens. You know, these people who live in those countries, who are residents of those countries, they lose children all the time. Their children never even make it to walking age because of the horrific conditions they live in. These are conditions that an average Black Lives Matter member would not even be able to fathom how awful it is. These guys live in amazing, luxurious lives. They live rich. They're fat. They've got Burger King on tap. And they're complaining about how terrible this country is. These people need to take a trip to some poor countries and hang out for a few months and see what real poverty looks like, see what real racism looks like. Because if you think Britain is racist, you haven't been out of Britain. You haven't traveled. You haven't gone anywhere to see how awful people are to each other. And it sickens me when people put down this country and yet are sucking at the teat of this country. They're lapping at the nectar that this country provides them, and they're spitting it out and going, this honey is just not sweet enough. I'm sure I can get sweeter honey somewhere else. It's like, what is wrong with you? You have no idea how better off you are. I have no idea how thankful you should be to that your family made it here. And this is why I agree with you when you said this should be one of the hardest countries to get into. Because if it provides so much for its people, then it is a privilege to be here. You should. Yes, it is an absolute privilege to be in this country. And those who want to come here have to go through. They have to run the gauntlet, if you like, the harshest possible tests. Because this country, by the way, this country is an island. It's not like you can't just waltz up to Britain. So yes, even nature has said this country is hard to get to. Mother Nature, the earth itself, has said this country is a hard country to get to, because at the minimum you have to swim across the channel to get here. You have to get on a dinghy and face rough seas. So no, I agree with you with your policy of immigration, that this country should be harsher on that. I'll be honest, I do agree that should not be the only solution. I think Britain has to have a multifaceted solution to its ethnic group that is currently under, they're not producing enough babies. So yes, you see, this is the problem. Miss Towler and her ilk talk about ethnic British. What they really mean is ethnic English, ethnic Welsh, ethnic Irish, ethnic Scottish. Now, you have to, the ethnic Scottish, the ethnic Welsh, the English, sure, they should have more kids. We should encourage more kids. We should give them facilities and provide them with amenities so that they're not, an average Welsh or a Scottish family doesn't have to worry about, if I have 2 kids, I can't afford to keep them. The government should look into those things. But unfortunately, they are failing. The government is failing these people. Societies have changed, and there is a shift coming in Europe. I mean, I've actually seen some groups talking about that Europe is going to go from a mono ethnicity state to a multi-ethnicity state. And it's going to be incredibly difficult on the natives. The natives are not going to like this, and it is true, there will be pushbacks, and I think PA is part of that pushback, because America started out almost, it kind of kicked off as a multi-ethnic. The Europeans came from all over different parts of Europe, so there wasn't one. The majority were English, but Irish came, the Swedes and the Slovaks and all the rest started going to America. So America kind of kicked off as a multi-ethnic, even in the white side was multi-ethnic. Then, of course, the African blacks were slaves who then became free, so they became part of the tapestry. There was already the natives there, so that was part of the tapestry. So American is a model of I think what Britain has adopted later on down the road. Just like I said with the term British being an umbrella term and the term American being an umbrella term, I think Britain is going into that mode where the native English, Scots and Welsh and Irish, Northern Irish, are not going to be the only British. and they and you know, this is, I think PA is a symptom of this resistance, and I don't necessarily blame them, but I think there are ways for them to, we have to provide means to assure the average Englishman that his life and liberty and his children's life and liberty are not in danger, that they're not going to disappear, that their heritage isn't going to just vanish. They will sustain, they will be fine. And I think at the moment, to convince your average Englishman or average Scotsman that your future is not is in danger here, you're going to have a secure future in these islands, at the moment, because of the birth rates, it's kind of hard for them to sort of swallow. I don't know if you've thought about that. Have you paid any thought to how we can let your average English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish person know that your future is not in jeopardy? Don't be afraid of these brown and black people, because they're not here to take your land from you. You're still going to be here. It's okay. I'm not sure. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you know, words can only go so far. People want to see action, right?
Yes.
So we look at the illegal immigration, the boats coming over every single day, and no matter what Priti Patel says, no matter what speech she makes or statement she makes, the British people are not going to believe anything until we see the boat stopping, right? And look, the illegal immigration is the first port of call. It's the first hurdle. It's the first thing that needs to be achieved. It has to be stopped, right? Then boats need to be stopped, because what's happened in the last 10 years or 15 years, whatever it is it's become a free-for-all. And that's what's the valuation has sent many millions of people in this country into a state of despair, into a state of fear, into a state of panic that Britain is being taken over, you know, by immigrants.
Yes.
So the call is to stop that stem. It's very simple. If you look at Donald Trump in America, when he got in the White House, the first thing he did is he said, let's get started building the wall, right? That was on purpose. He did that on purpose. American people were about the stem of illegal immigration that was flowing in from Mexico. And the British people, just the same, we are concerned of the stem of illegal immigration that's coming across the water, that of fake refugees that enter in the country, devaluing the nation. It's devaluing our communities. And when I say communities, I mean like areas, I mean like housing estates. They're being devalued, right? Especially working class housing estates up and down this country. They're being devalued because bunches of people who don't speak English very well, who came over here illegally, who have no background history, are just dumped into working class areas right across the country. And that has to be the starting point. The starting point needs to be there. Once we stop that, we'll inspire a lot more confidence in the people. Then the second stage after we finish that is, now you're talking about the birth rates, right? Now, I believe it was Hungary. Hungary tried to counter the poor birth rate statistics by offering incentives for having children. Now, that's proved not to work. It didn't work in Hungary. So that's something that we can look as a model, and we can say, all right, maybe that's not going to work. But one thing that we can definitely do, and it starts at the education level. It starts in the primary schools, secondary schools, the universities. It starts on the television. It starts in the public places. It starts in the public services. Is a promotion of family, right? We don't see it now in the modern day in 2020. Is a real strong promotion on family values, on having a large family. They've went completely opposite way. Right now, if you look at the kind of in between the line messages, they never promote large families. They hide away from it, and they more promote minority groups. They more promote LGBTQ. They more promote things that are less reproductive than reproductive. So that reproduction needs promoted, and that can be done through promoting strong family values and this ideal that it's actually a very good thing to have a large family. You see, the people that are coming here, whether it be from the Middle East, whether it be for Africa, that are having larger families, they're coming from cultures where that's promoted, where it's a normality.
Absolutely.
That needs to be made a normality and something that is desirable in this country again. When we do that, we'll see the birth rates change, but it might take another generation, another 2 generations before we can get to that level.
Yeah, actually, as you were saying about promoting large families, I recall now. I don't know if you're probably too young for this, but I remember when I was a child in this country, there was a show called The Waltons. And the Waltons, with John Boy, and they had like 7 or 8 children. And the famous segment of the film was always all the children saying good night, Billy, and good night, Johnny, good night, Mary Sue, and good night, John Boy. And there was like all the family was, all the kids were saying good night to each other. And there was like, I don't know, 6, 7 of them or something. It's huge. I have never seen a show like that again, where a family has like 7 or 8 kids. The most you get is like the Simpsons that have got 3 kids, and I don't know, Family Guy.
We watched the Waltons, right? Our generation watched the Waltons, yet we still didn't have lots of children. Yeah. So there's a lot more to it, and the promotion of marriage is not there as much.
Yes.
And the whole kind of nucleus and the structure of what we would see as a strong family unit is really just, it's not celebrated enough, and it needs to be celebrated more. And we need to push society back in that direction where that's valuable. Like my grandparents were married for over 60 years. They were married, and they had 7 children in a 3-bedroom council estate house. And as soon as we shifted to the next generation, everything changed. People stopped getting married. People started having multiple children with different fathers. And it became totally destructed. So we have to get back to it. We have to get back to that strong family home. But Banksy, I really have to go.
No, that's fantastic. I'm sorry. I thought it was going to be like half an hour. It's already an hour. Thank you ever so much, Rikki. You've been awesome. And is there anything else you want to promote or anything else you want to mention that's coming up?
No, I'd just like to say, thank you to you, Banksy, for putting me on today and everything that you're doing with the channel, and really appreciate the support that you're giving out there, and the coverage that you're putting out there. And yourself, as somebody who originally came from Iran, you've got a valuable voice that people need to understand. That even though you came from Iran, your parents came from there as well. You have a passion for Britain. And that should be valued. And that's really important, and it's important for everybody to see that. It's not about being left, it's not about being right, it's about people, right? And it's
about being British.
And British lives. Yeah, it's about being British. And British should not be exclusive for somebody with some genealogy pool that they were never around to even know about, right? Yes. They just take a DNA test and they say, right, I've got more right than you. No chance. It doesn't work like that. So,
sounds great.
Respect to you, respect to everything you're doing, Banksy. And I would just encourage you, Thursday night, 9 o'clock, I'm debating Sasha Johnson from Black Lives Matter, Oxford, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a good debate, so be encouraging everybody to be there and to tune in. And let's push forward and embrace everybody, this nation, no matter the background, no matter the race, no matter the skin color. They need to be embraced. And when we can embrace everybody and give people that chance to be proud of this nation, we can have a united country that forward. And listen, a united and patriotic country will never go towards Marxism. Will never go towards socialism. It will never do it. Because united and proud of this nation and patriotic, this is a mix with that type of ideology. So we need that for the future and our kids' future. So I really appreciate you, Banksy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful evening. Give my best to your family, and we'll check you out on Thursday. It should be hot. It should be fires. Take care. Have a good one, Rikki.
Take care.
Take care. Bye bye now. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to me. and Rikki is out. All right, guys, that was Rikki Doolan, the leader of British Lives Matter. Lots to unpack there. Lots was said. Guys and girls, now I'm not gonna open a panel up on this one because I'm gonna end this show now with this segment out of the way. I will start another stream immediately after with comments and thoughts and an open panel for anyone else who wants to jump on and discuss this conversation or any other conversations Rikki's had. So if you guys want to come back, wait about 5 minutes and I will restart another stream where we will discuss this. We'll just, for those of you who are biting at the bit, trying to get on here and have your say, because I've mostly ignored the comments. I've mostly ignored anyone who wanted to have a conversation because I just wanted it to be purely for Rikki. And I promised that I wouldn't, that I'm not just going to mix it up with a whole bunch of nobodies from the internet. So there you go. So yeah, I'm going to end the show and I will start a new stream and we will discuss whatever you guys wish. It'll be an open panel one. For now, have a wonderful evening if you are not going to come back. And you know what they say, tickle your ass with a feather. Ciao.